All right. So today we are actually jumping into virtual reality, and we're going to talk about how to host a meeting in virtual reality, as well as how others can join that meeting. And so to facilitate that, what I've done is on my headset, I have it casting. So this is my page, and this is the view from my headset, and that's what you're seeing. And what I've done is I've gone ahead and gone into one of the flows. And I'll actually show that here on the other screen. But the way you start all of these multi-user meetings is the same, and it sort of is irregardless of device. You're going to click on this little meet icon. So let me go back over to the headset view, and just so you can actually. So while so anyways, to first go through the experience just as a participant, if we were to just go ahead and start this, I click Start New Meeting, and this creates a custom URL that has this string at the end of it, and you can join that from your phone, from your computer, or from a VR headset, or AR headset, which is what we're gonna do. So I'll put this link into the chat window of this Zoom call, and that way you can join that way, and then I'll sort of leave this up, and on headset I'm actually going to dive in. So give me one moment. All right. So I'm going to go back into my Quest. And so from here, there's a variety of ways to start the meeting or to join one that is already started. And that's what I'm going to do. Since I already have it started, I'm actually going to hit this little icon and just enter the meeting code manually, which is MBQLL, all lowercase, MBQLL. Submit. And so now I will be dropped into this meeting. And since I'm logged in on the browser on the headset as the host, I will have host privileges here to be able to end the meeting and see who else is in the meeting, so I can see how you're there as well. So anyways, let me actually click this Enter VR button, and I will be in the scene with you guys. All right. So let me adjust a few things on the computer just so you can see more clearly. And so one of those things being, I'm actually gonna just have one instance of myself, and I will share my view from this participant. This will make more sense in just a moment. But what I'll do is I'm going to position myself basically behind the content. And then by recentering, so I'm facing basically the correct location. Let me show you one more time, actually. There we go. So now I'm facing the camera, and you should be able to see my avatar on the screen in the space. And so as I point around, you're seeing my avatar actually point around. So now our avatars are sort of ugly by design, I like to say, where it has not been our point of emphasis or differentiator, but we want to integrate into other apps and to use other avatars. And so we are working on other ways to connect there. And I thought I saw how you were in there a bit ago. Are you still in the environment or in the live meeting?
Yeah.
There you are. Okay, so I see you now. So yeah, we're both in a shared space. So if you click and drag your mouse a little bit, you'll actually move around the scene just a hair. So if you click and drag your mouse, you'll move around. You'll see me. And so we are in sort of this shared space. And let me alt tab here so you can also see what I see. So in my view, I see the text that can see these avatars in front of me. And so as I go through this story, I can sort of narrate it through. And I picked this one since it's a little more relevant today, where we're looking at inflation. And on this inflation, let me make this just a little smaller here so you can sort of see both. Okay. So on this inflation story, inflation is basically defined as the how quickly prices are changing over a period of time. And that basically above this threshold is considered hyperinflation. And so this was a case back in Weimar, Germany, and how to sort of give a comparison, the same amount of money spent every day to get a cup of coffee. The day one could get you 5 cups of coffee. On Tuesday, it gets you 4. On Wednesday, it would get you 3. On Thursday, actually 3. Friday, 2. Saturday, 2. And Sunday, you're down to 1. So in the span of a week, the purchasing power has decreased by a factor of 10. And so that, or sorry, a factor of 5. And so this hyperinflation period is sort of a very interesting point to note. And looking at it on this graph, you can start to get a sense of the true magnitude of how high the value or how high inflation pushed the value. So that by its peak in 1924, it was 1 trillionth of its original value. So very short story, not a ton to sort of dive into. This is sort of highlighting some additional areas that or other countries that experienced hyperinflation and when those occurred. And this is that same information on a map. And so, some of the very basic things you can do in VR is point to something. And so by pointing and clicking, you sort of have this very large laser pointer, almost like a lightsaber, that you can actually point to the content. And we'll go into another flow next, where we can actually interact with the content, and then you'll be able to see some of what those interactions look like in XR. So now that you've been in on sort of flat screen, I've been streaming just a little bit here. Any questions that come to mind offhand?
Hey, Michael, so there's so to join the meeting,
Yes.
Have you tried using the Quest camera to using their AR mode to scan that QR code, or just enter?
We haven't. I haven't seen their QR code implementation yet. I wasn't aware that was out yet.
Well,
the AR mode is definitely something we're interested in, especially for headsets. But yeah, could you comment further on that?
So I'm just saying it isn't something that they can. But you have to use the API to, I know you guys have the scan, because when I use the HoloLens, I don't have to manually put it in. I can scan the QR code.
Yeah, isn't that awesome? It's so that's built into the operating system, not at the browser level.
Oh.
It essentially just opens up your default browser and goes to the link, similar to including like a hyperlink in an email, just it's a QR code instead. But I totally agree with you, and that would be a way faster way to get in. But until then, what we found is that just these 5-digit codes are sort of the fastest path to get someone into the right room. And if you're logged in, we'll make it even easier, where you have other functionality to do that. But that's been sort of our solution to date. Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And also, I saw you actually, if you do this demo, you sometimes need to watch see things on the flat screen and then go back to VR. You might want to turn on the transparency. I find that useful because I can just tap on the side twice and it will turn into transparency. I can see without having to.
Yeah. So right, forgot about that. Yeah, the double tap is really helpful. Agreed. Great point. I was actually trying to play with the Rift version of this. Definitely works, but showing it or casting it was a little harder. But anyways, let me actually go through here just so you can see. And the same applies for the HoloLens, by the way. So all of these instructions that I give in XR also apply to basically anything. So let me quit this. And here's what I'll do. Let me make this full screen. I just broke your own rule there, huh? Sorry. All right. So, I'm going to make this full screen. Hope we can see that okay. And the basic instructions are to go to your browser. So opening up the browser, you're going to go to a.flow.gl, and you'll log in if you are not logged in already. And basically the same interface is there, where you have the ability to look at featured flows, your own flows, things that are shared with you, and then sort them by a variety of different topics. So for this example, I'm going to do the Texas power outage. And so if I select that flow, it opens it up for everybody here. And from headset, so from this view, it's essentially the same as just opening a 2D browser on your desktop. The only difference is that you're in headset. And so from this little spot, you can essentially still actually start a meeting. And so this little meeting icon in the top right-hand corner is what you'll need to select to start a meeting. And so I can start a new meeting, and that has now been created, and anyone can join. So I'll read this out loud, since I won't be able to copy and paste this over into my Zoom window. So let me just read that out loud. It's HKDLD, or sorry, HKDID, not DL, my apologies. HKDID. And so this QR code can also be emailed. So if you were to have someone's email, you could type it in here to invite them. So I can send one to Bill. And he will essentially receive an email with this same link so that we can have others join. And I see how that you have joined as well. And so I can close this little meeting prompt, and I'm actually going to jump into XR. Now, just so you're aware, before I jump in, there are meeting controls. So I can actually make you a presenter, or take it back. I can view the world through your eyes by hitting view stream, and that's a very interesting one to go through. So if I click that, it will be very interesting. Yeah, I might do that in a moment. So anyways, let me jump into the environment. And so now I'm in.
Hey, Michael, I got a real quick question.
Yes.
Stephen is trying to get into the meeting. He needs to be let in. Can I do that, or do you have to do that?
It looks like it only showed up on mine, so I just admitted him. Thanks.
Oh, great. Okay, excellent. Oh, there he is. Okay, good.
Make you a co-host there. Sorry about that.
Great.
Hey, Stephen. So we're just jumping into how to start and host a meeting in virtual reality. So going through a new setup here. Hao and I are in the same meeting. And so as I go through this presentation, it's a little bit more interactive. And so let me skip ahead a few steps. And I'm not going to focus in too much on the actual content here, but instead sort of just skip through to get to a step that has just a bit more interaction. And so what I'll do is fly down here. And as I fly down here, I can actually interact with this data. And so how, if you're still in the meeting, basically you will be able to see these selections as well. So when I click a dot, that pop-up will be visible for you as well. And so it essentially is a way for me to direct your gaze or what you're looking at. And only the presenter, when they select something, will it update for everyone. So you can explore the content on your own and do your own thing. But when I click on something, that essentially will override and show for you. And so that's an interactive capability that I think is, yeah, definitely worthy of attention when it comes to more group activities and presenter rights, that you can have sort of multiple permissions. And just as a quick heads up of how to do that again. So if I even quit the immersive web experience, I'll still have the website open. So the session is still there. And I can actually quickly see who the participants are. And so I'm actually going to do that view stream of view how. And then if I go back into VR, my view is actually going to be constrained to your mouse. So you are controlling what I look at and see, essentially.
That's pretty cool.
So I don't know if you're going, oh, there we go. I was just facing the wrong way. So yeah, move around, do something. Basically, I am seeing the world. You are controlling my world. So that's kind of an interesting mechanic that we don't use too often. We do have one customer that does a lot of demos in person, and they didn't want to even hand someone a controller. And so this was sort of an easier way for them to do that. So I'm going to end your control of me by quitting the immersive web experience. And then on the desktop view, I'm going to stop your stream. And so this is also where I can actually hide your avatar. And then there is a mode here where you don't have to be presenter, but you can still interact with the contents and I will see it. And that's by clicking enable interactions. And so now in the scene, if I go back in here, and so how, if you want to come over here with me and if you can select one of the drop downs or one of the points on the supply curve. Oh, maybe this step doesn't have it. Sorry. Let me go back.
I just select the wind.
Yeah. So oh, not this one. Sorry. If you select a one of the supply lines on this, yeah, there you go. So basically, when you make that selection, it shows for me too. So go ahead and select a dot one more time. There we go. And so now I can see you're looking at wind and the percentage and where you're looking. So this idea of just where you're looking, what you're selecting, I think that's something we're definitely exploring when it comes to having multiple avatars in the space. So these are some more advanced features within the meeting, but especially as meetings get larger, are very helpful to be aware of.
This is amazing. This is amazing for classroom. I mean, whether we're in person or remote, if we can collaborate in this virtual space like this, I can tell students, hey, I can ask a question and call one of the students, say, hey, point out the answer. Where's the answer? And then I guess everyone in the meeting can see, right? And so that's exactly right. And you can also see where they're looking. So if everyone's off looking at something else, you can redirect them in some sense. So yeah, you're spot on. We see a lot of potential with it, but I think the most important aspect that a lot of people overlook is that it's got to work across devices. That if you expect everyone to have a headset right from the get-go, you're just always going to miss someone. This meeting, as evidence of that. So yeah. Anyways, so let me stop. I'm going to get out of headset here for a moment, and we can talk about some of the other aspects here from the computer. Okay. So, the very basic way to think about live meetings from the headset is to think of it very much the same as a meeting from just the 2D version of the website. The only difference being is that when you're immersive, your mode, you will be able to fly around. And then in more of the AR mode, actually walk around your room and the contents. And we can go through other scenarios, maybe as a more advanced topic, for when you're in the actual same room as someone and you want the content to be
basically centered at the same point. And so we're adding a lot of functionality to make it more interactive, more features that you can sort of explore together. One that I like to point to is this one for the Voices of VR, where all of these dots are actually interactive. And so actually, I think maybe just the last step. But when you click on a dot, it opens up a text box, and that actually has links to the actual podcast episodes. You can actually listen to the podcast and explore it sort of dynamically. So tons of potential, with these sort of more immersive experiences. Yeah, so that is a quick demo of how to start a meeting and do so in headsets and have people join in headset. It's open the browser and go to that URL. That's the sort of the short of it. Yeah, Bill, what did I miss? And would you like to add any additional commentary?
No, I'm not aware of anything you missed that's fundamental to this topic.
Awesome. Right, and Stephen, I see you have a hand up as well.
Yeah, is there a difference between flying around and walking around when you say those terms? Is it the same thing?
Great question. They are different. How do I phrase it? So that typically in the VR environments, we scale the world by 3. And so everything is 3 times as big. People are 3 times as far away. Everything's 3x what you should see. And so as a result, walking around the content, you have to walk a lot. You have to walk 3 times as far to get to where you need to go, basically, which could work if you have a really large space, but more typically, you want it to be a one-to-one relationship, or like in AR, it's a one-to-one relationship where if I create a data set that's 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter, it actually will take up that specific amount of space in my environment, and I can sort of build around that. And then VR, you're sort of able to move up and down, and it's not just on a single plane. So there's definitely a lot of things blending with all of these. With all those aspects, but I guess that's sort of some slight nuance, but the idea is still the same. You're just moving your perspective camera to a different position, and one is by walking and the other is by using the joystick on the controller to fly around.
Okay, so flying refers to in VR using the joystick.
Yes.
Walking
Sorry,
is VR. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. That was one question. Yep. All right. Any questions? How or anything? I guess HoloLens related or HoloLens 2 related. Any questions?
Yeah, Michael. So I'm just following up on what Stephen just asked about this flying around. So are you using the thumbstick? Just how do you control in 3D space? Like what's up and down, left and right, and there's 3 axes, right?
That's right. So the way we've implemented it is that you can run it all from one controller. And imagine that the controller was like a little rocket ship and you were attached to that rocket ship. So if you push the forward thrust vector, you go forward in whichever direction the controller is pointing. So I can have it thrusting forward and point it back, and I'll actually go backwards or vice versa. And so your head positions doesn't determine where you go, it's where your controller is pointed. And then the thrust vector, which is just the thumbstick on the controller itself.
Okay, the thumbstick is control whether I'm propelled go forward or propelled backwards, and the direction is controlled by how I hold my. Okay, got it.
Yeah, the direction which you're holding the controller. That's right, exactly. Yep. We might have scale zoom here pretty soon, but yeah, that's sort of the main thing we've gotten here.
Do you have a teleport controller?
We don't have teleport yet. No.
Okay, that's cool. And then I just want to confirm about that streaming view. That's kind of interesting. Is that a one-on-one thing? So if I have like 20 students join me in the meeting, and then I want to pick out one person, I'm going to click on that person in my meeting and say view a stream. And at that time, since I'm the one who casting my view to the screen, I'm viewing that student's stream, right?
That's right.
So that stream, if someone else is not wearing a headset, they would be, they're seeing the casting view. They will see what I'm seeing, which is what that particular student is seeing.
Yeah, and actually the way we've configured it is that everyone in the meeting will see what that person sees if you as the presenter click view stream. So it's sort of one step further where it's like, everyone go look at what Sally's looking at, and literally could all be in Sally's eyes and see from her vantage point in some sense.
That's interesting. So I can actually, in a way, I don't, so it's different than making someone presenter. If making someone presenter, we are still seeing the regular view, but they're just presenting, and they can interact with the scene, the content. But if I make a view stream, then really it's like from a first person perspective, that student's view is this is probably more suitable if I want people to present the flow they created. So basically I say, okay, show us the flow you created and walk us through it.
Yeah, it could be that, but I think that's more of the enable interactions mechanic, because I believe what you're describing is you want the student to be able to click on something and everyone else be able to see it. I believe. Well, I guess maybe I'm thinking too far into it. The way you're describing view stream, I think it's like very powerful, but not often used because it's kind of hidden within this menu. But I think it's just a very powerful concept to see the world through someone else's eyes. And I'd be very curious when you experiment with sort of larger groups and with students, what works, what doesn't. But I imagine that could be a really powerful feature.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Can I ask a general AR presentation question?
Yes, of course.
I'm super close to being able to record myself in my latest flow, and I had my wife, I was logged in on mobile. I was presenting, I was in AR mode, and my wife scanned the link. But on her side, she didn't have the XR viewer.
Got it. Yep.
So did she need that to see me in? Okay, so once she gets that, then instead of just seeing the blank background or whatever I have in the non-AR flow, she'll see, and she's in the room, she'll see me in the space.
That's right.
And then away we go. There's nothing stopping me now. I'll be recording videos all the time.
Yeah, and we did have we did put together, I think, a quick cheat sheet, if I'm not mistaken, Bill, on the AR video. The one sort of thing to also do is to recenter on the same point. So I don't know if both phones are in AR mode, you want to make sure they're both calibrated and centered in the right spot.
Is the recenter an option if it's not in AR or no?
It's only for AR.
Okay, that's why I was looking for the recenter, because I remember you saying that, and because she was just not in AR, it wasn't popping up, so that makes sense.
That's right. Yep. Cool. I'm super pumped to see it. That's exciting. That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm using a vector PNG image, which I'm pretty excited about. Person, I think that'll be fun. So
I love it. Oh, very cool. Definitely share whenever you get a chance. We just started a newsletter called Seen in the Stream, where we're going to highlight user flows that people send to us. So any other questions or other commentary?
Yeah, Stephen, in case you don't already have it, I just sent you the latest version of our AR quick guide. It's 5 pages. if you haven't received that before, you'll find lots of tips and tricks in there.
Thank you, Bill. I know I'm sure I've received it before, but.
Yeah. Well, this is the latest version. It's about a month old or so. So, as we incrementally add things to it, we upgrade it.
Yeah. All right. Let me stop recording here.
Yeah. But very interested, Stephen, in what you do.